How's everybody doing? So, pretty happy with how spring is going as far as, just reestablishing our process, reestablishing the traits that we view as important. A lot of young guys out there getting reps, which is good for our depth going into the fall. I had some good situational work today. With that, any questions?
Matt, it seems like a big focus of the spring is getting Harold Perkins work inside. What is sort of the goal that y'all have for him at that spot? What sort of things do you want him to learn? And long term, what do you see him doing during the season itself?
Well, I mean, we know Harold has some elite ability, but he came here to learn to play linebacker and not necessarily just a hybrid. And the spring's kind of a great time to do that. You learn the techniques and fundamentals associated with playing the stack position, he's still playing out in space some. And it's just going to enhance his game and really what he came here to be.
Matt, to your left up here. Just the secondary, how good of a feel do you have for what their potential can be? Obviously, a lot of early people are playing pivotal roles right now, I guess. And how much will that change once you get to the fall?
Yeah, I think it's a process. Every day there's new growth and there's new expectations of Coach Kelly's program and what our process is for those guys and how to apply it. I'm excited about the potential of that group, but we got a long way to go.
Hey, Coach. With Javian Toviano, what sort of characteristics does he have to allow him to play the nickel and really allow him to just be a flexible piece for you guys overall?
Yeah, first of all, JT loves football and he's smart. Really, really smart player and really takes his craft serious. From an athletic standpoint, he's got great length. He's got good speed, and he can make plays on the ball.
Your first year back in the SEC, I know you were here for in the conference for several years. Just was there anything that you learned new last year in terms of defense and just kind of how elite that they are across the conference, in these times?
Yeah, I think it kept reinforcing that it's still a line of scrimmage league, and you got to have depth in this league because there is a grind and there's a wear and tear. So there's got to be a next man up mentality, and that's why the spring's so important to develop those techniques and fundamentals that it takes to be successful during the season.
So there's a lot of turnover from last year at defensive line, and then also position coach leaving to go to Denver. Kind of who do you see emerging right now in camp, being the leader of that group and getting them on the right page?
Yeah, that's the guys that are on the field right now. I'm really, really pleased with Jacobian's growth. He's doing a nice job. I'm really, really pleased with Savion's growth. And you still have Makai Wingo. He's at every practice. He may not be on the field. You still have Mason Smith. He's at every practice. You're not on the field. I'm excited about the potential depth of that group. There's a lot of guys that are growing, and that's exciting.
Back to the defensive line, at this point, how do you even kind of evaluate the position with so many people out?
You kind of have to go back, and in some ways, Makai played so many snaps for us. We know what he can be. Mason, I have a pretty good feel for what Mason can be because he did go through a whole training camp and a whole spring. I think what you see, too, is you get an opportunity to work with the guys that really need more reps. Not that those other guys don't, because they do, but it's the next man up, and it gives you a chance to see that growth. To me, the spring is all about setting the stage for fundamentally how you're going to approach the summer and then training camp. So I feel like we're in a good spot with our growth there right now.
Yeah, Coach. Right here. Obviously, Omar Spates comes in. What has he meant to you all as a defense and helping Harold Perkins, like you said, make that transition?
Yeah, I love Omar's approach. The way he goes about and handles his business, the focus he comes in with, the attention to detail he has in his work. He's not the most vocal guy. He's more vocal on the field. But what he does do is he does a great job modeling to that whole room and to Harold.
Hey, Coach, about the jack position as well. I know there's some new faces, guys, transfers coming in, and freshmen as well. What do you got to say about that group and how they're really progressing right now?
Yeah, I'm encouraging the power and numbers in that group. I think right now you got 4 guys in the group that are really competing. You know, Ovi's got a lot of experience, but we're happy with the development of Braden. We're happy with the development of Princeton. We're happy with the development of Jackson. Now, like I said, we got a long way to go. You know, it's spring practice number 8. But those guys have shown growth and potential.
Matt, you might not, like you're kind of saying, be to this point yet, but when you start to look at all these defensive pieces, it seems like they can play different spots, especially on the front, and do a lot of different things. What do you sort of envision for this group in terms of having the multiplicity that you like to have in a defense?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And to be honest with you, you have to have that to be successful in this conference. You can't sit in one front and be successful. The offensive coordinators, the offensive line coach, and the offensive linemen are too good at running the football and too good at ID and protections. So it gives you a chance to be multiple in your alignments and multiple in your assignments, and gives you a chance to have matchups when you get into an obvious pass situation.
Do you feel like having Coach Jancic on the field gives you what you want as far as being able to teach those positions differently?
Yeah, I'm a big John Jancic fan. I love having JJ out there. He gives great energy. He's a great teacher. He's been successful in this league, both as a coordinator and as a position coach. He's definitely been an added value on the field.
So why is it important to have that position group coached differently and separately?
Yeah, because they have to do so many things, right? Where, you know, for the most part, our defensive line, the interior, I mean, they're playing as part of the front all the time. That jack is a little bit different. We move him all over the place. He can be part of coverage. He can be part of the front. He can be an inside rusher. He can be an outside rusher. So although it's not the most difficult position to learn from a assignment standpoint, it's very important that you drill the technical aspect of that position.
Just with Harold, I mean, you get to spend as much time with him as anybody on the field. Just how have you seen him grow, not only as a player, but as a person here in year 2?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is he's got a better understanding of our process and how we prepare, and that's the biggest thing. His habits are much more consistent, you know, and as I said last year, that hasn't changed. He just loves football, really coachable.
I know Makai's not out there, but he was so important to what y'all did last year. What is his ceiling for growth, you know, once he gets healthy?
Yeah, I think this is a great opportunity for him to increase the mental part of his game, you know, to learn more what offenses are doing, the finer techniques and fundamentals for how he can get an edge in his game, to learn to be a great student in the film room. So there's still value even though he's not on the field and getting physical reps.
Looks like Sage Ryan is getting a lot of first-team work, at least when we're out there, and maybe ready to take that step here in year 3. What are you seeing from him right now in the spring in terms of where he's at?
Sage is getting more consistent in his work. There's no doubt about that. He's doing a better job playing the ball too, from a football standpoint. Still a lot of room for growth, but he's been more consistent.
Are there any of these mid-year enrollees, freshmen, that are going to be new in the fall to the field that you just can't figure out a way that they're not going to be on the field? Like, it's hard to keep them off?
I mean, that's the great thing about the way coach practices. And right now, I'm sure they're all swimming to an extent, but they're all getting valuable reps. Guys that have had a good spring so far. Jackson's had a good spring. Javian's had a good spring. I think in the last 3 practices, the light's kind of clicking a little bit for Witt. Things are slowing down for him a little bit. You know, Ryan Yates, things are starting to slow down a little bit for him. You know, and like I said, it's practice number 8. The true thing for these guys is they start learning, you know, what we value, what our process is, what our traits of excellence are, and that way in the summer and in training camp they can apply those.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, with the numbers being low on both sides of the ball, offense and defense, does it give you more concentrated work as a coach? Is there a plus to it?
Yeah, that's a great question. The way Coach the way Coach does our practice, I think it's a good mix between putting the ball down and learning to play the game and dividing up and having, whether it's half-line pass, half-line run, technique and fundamental work, where you're not putting a guy at risk with injury and overdoing their player load, but still teaching them how to play the game. So it's kind of part whole, if that makes sense. And, you know, you may not be able to go out there and play a 100-play scrimmage, but you're still getting good live work along with practice work that develops you.
You've obviously got a completely rebuilt cornerback room at this point, but especially with Deuce out, do you kind of see this being something that's going to probably take into the preseason to really sort through who y'all want to lean on there? And just what do you make of the guys that you've got?
Absolutely. I mean, you guys heard this a little bit last year, and it's the same thing. You know, both as a staff and as players playing together, you got to learn how we communicate amongst ourselves, how they play. You know, there's a little bit of you got to play snaps together, whether you're a corner, a safety, and then as coaches, it's a great opportunity for us to learn on the field what their true strengths and weaknesses are, so we can put them in better positions to succeed. Thanks, guys.